yes. By the way, what do you think of that? I mean, have you had fun with lockpicking? Are you going to be happy to finally move on to captain's pick?
I mean, a lot of competitors complain about it, but I never really had a problem with it. I'm not big on the drafting. When my team drafts, usually they might ask me a few questions about what hero I think is best for me to play,
Yeah.
some standard stuff. But honestly, I leave it in the hands of the more capable B kid and often some other of my teammates. But to me, it's fine. I think everyone adapted to it well, quite well, and the strategies involved were certainly interesting to watch. But yeah, with this captain's pick, a change will still be nice. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing in the end. It is change. Whether or not we'll see the drafts actually change to an extreme, I personally don't think that's going to be the case, especially right off the bat. But it is changed in the end, and it'll definitely set a different pace, at least, in the drafting stage. So, but for this event, it is still lockpicking, the point being. So, still going to go with that for now. Obviously, the qualifiers that start this week for the Hunter qualifiers, that will begin the captain's pick era. When it comes to competitive heroes in New Earth. But anyways, this game, we're already moving along. I'm rambling on here, Riser. You got to shut me up sometimes. We're moving on here. We look at how this is developed. We had Ophelia Parasite, Scout Rally as the blind bands. You see the locking phase, Keeper of the Forest. You got Torturer, Doctor Repulsor, Tempest, Master of Arms, and Pharaoh. And then the banning stage after that. So things moving along here. Anything standing out to you so far, Riser?
Um. Well,
Well,
yes. Now. Uh, Blood Hunter picked up. I know this is a favorite of Nox. I watched him play Scrim and he played quite well. They ended up losing, unfortunately, but this is kind of a Nox hero. We see Madman being picked up by Super KGE. Whether they want to run this as a long lane suicide or a farmer, your guess is as good as mine, Breaky. I don't know. You rarely see this hero at all, but the Blood Hunter, I can assure you that I have seen before, played by Nox, played in that short lane, even with another hero supporting him so he gets that free farm, is probably what we're going to see, but he can definitely solo by himself and definitely dominate that short lane.
yeah. Oh, yeah. He's kind of one of those heroes where Rampage is another one of the where it's like we never ever see him on the competitive scene, other than that one or two times that I could call in my mind. But in those one or two times, he dominated the game that he was in. I do recall, I believe it was Minos or Haxron even for, maybe it was Haxron for Complete for you guys even played a Blood Hunter 1 game. I think it might have been
Yeah.
Hunter. Anyways, it did well with it. I mean, this hero definitely has potential to snowball. For sure. So you said Nox, though. He's been playing that recently. So looking forward to having some success here, I guess, as they finish off with Keeper of the Forest as their final pick. So, you got the Blood Hunter pick up. What do you think about the overall lineup now for Team Excellent?
Well, it looks like it's going to be a jungle keeper, which we don't see too often anymore. And I think the reason for that is mostly his limited presence in the game until he hits that level 6. Also, with the addition of counter wards being purchasable at level 1, it's easy to slow down his jungle quite a bit. So we'll have to see Pew does on this Keeper of the Force. If he can get those ganks off at level 6, is going to be paramount to his success. And instead of a Suicide Keeper, which we see frequently, I think it's going to be a Pharaoh this game for Team Excellent.
Yeah. Obviously, you have plenty of jungle insight, especially when it comes down to it. So, what do you like playing Keeper as a jungler in the end, or would you just rather not play him as a jungler if you can have that option?
He's okay. In terms of overall enjoyment, I might rate him pretty low.
Yeah.
He's kind of walking ultimate plus Astral Abe sometimes, but there are certain intricacies to him that can make him not just a one-dimensional hero.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, we do see a trend of people picking Tempest as their jungler just because the amount of utility and usefulness he has throughout the entire game is just unmatched in my opinion.
Yeah.
Once he hits level 3, he can gank. You can't say the same about Keeper, and just the ultimate, the stun, everything throughout the whole game is a very, very powerful tool. So I think you will see in this upcoming Hauntor, if there is a jungler in the game, which we don't see quite as much frequently, I think the most effective one is going to be Tempest.
That's true. Lately, it definitely seems like that jungling role has kind of stepped down to an extent. I mean, we still see the jungle, in a good amount of games, but you're right to say it's not the every single game expect to see a jungler anymore type era. But, you could also, with the blind banning stage, the lock pick, it seems like that's also when junglers are taking, I mean, hell, this game we had both Ophelia and Parasite taken care of. Obviously, Keeper and Tempest, though, made it through. But yeah, so it seems like, it's kind of back and forth, if anything. We'll see how that develops going on, again, especially starting with the Hunter season. With the qualifiers here this weekend. So, okay, so enough about Excellence lineup, though. How about Lion Esports Club? Seems like they got a very strong lineup over here, starting with that Madman that you pointed out. And it looks like Madman's going to be going mid, by the way, being played by
Yeah, this is something that I'm not surprised to see from Lions because it's the exact same strategy they employed against us when we had a keeper jungle. When they know when there's a jungle keeper, his usefulness until that level 6 is very low. And you can take advantage of that by sending a dual lane top, or long lane, excuse me, and take advantage of a lane that normally you would not be able to take advantage of if they had a more aggressive jungler who could assist in that lane. So, yeah, Pebbles and Pyromancer obviously in this top lane by themselves. They've had a lot of success with this. They had great success against my team even running that as well. So this is kind of a Alliance strategy, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, it makes sense. I mean, it makes you, obviously with that Keep It the Forest pickup as you're referring to, that was the final pickup, if I'm not mistaken, in the lockpicking stage by Team Excellent at least. And so, you think of the Lions in the lineup that they have, they probably weren't intending to do this from the very beginning, but because of that Keeper of the Forest final pick there, and knowing that it was going to be a jungler, most likely the passive jungler, they're like, okay, let's go ahead and send that aggressive dual lane top as you were talking about. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. So definitely Lion-esque, as you so well put it. So Jonas the fan playing the Madman. You look at Madman. Obviously, Flensmeister also going to be playing that short lane Master of Arms. Expect him to have a pretty good time. Where's Bloodhunter with that set? I assume in the top lane. Yeah, Bloodhunter is going to be the top lane. But so with this aggressive dual lane coming top, as we are sitting in the pause here, Riser, what do you expect to see coming out of Excellent now once they realize the aggressive duel lane going up there? Will they do any adjustments, you think?
I mean, I feel like Lions is already winning the laning phase considerably right now. It's going to be difficult to kill Madman middle for the Engineer and the Fade. Pharaoh, his nature, is probably not going to have the best of time bottom. I expect Flensmeister to win this lane. And I don't expect Bloodhunter to get that much top. So a lane change could definitely be in order. Maybe move their dual lane top and then move Bloodhunter mid. Would be their best option to make the lanes a little bit more even and possibly in their favor.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what comes out. Madman, also another thing about him, I've always been a huge fan of Madman. I just love his presence in that earlier game, especially with the barrel, with the stock ability. It allows him to be very involved in fights earlier on, unlike a good amount of right-click carries. Although I guess with the game nowadays, we don't see as many of those. But still, he allows him to be involved early on with his abilities, and he also did receive that change in the Runic Shift patch. It's obviously been a while, but this isn't a hero we see too often. So definitely interested to get your thoughts on it, Riser, with that change to his Gash being his third ability. How it's actually just more damage based now rather than the crit based. You actually a fan of that change?
Yeah, I think it's good. I was reading some forums about it. It wasn't too recently, but when they changed it, and some people were a little upset because they think his crit, the crit that he used to have, was a big part of his hero, the burst damage he could offer, but in reality, I think just having the percentage damage is just as effective. He's still going to do, I believe, mathematically, he's going to do more damage overall.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's interesting. One thing I like to point out about Jonas and Fan is that you will almost never see Lions have Jonas and Fan play like that passive defensive farming solo lane hero. He's almost always on a ganker, and certainly Madman, like you said, will be a very effective early game, especially with levels, which I think he's going to do just fine in this middle lane.
Yeah. Well, you're looking right off the bat to kind of answer our question. Engineer is deciding to go top here to set up the rotation, but even so, I mean, Engineer, he needs to be careful himself. It's not like Engineer Bloodhunter is your most ideal laning situation either when it comes down to it. So I still expect both Super KG and Seal Kid up here playing for Lion Esports Club to actually have a pretty good time when it comes down to it. So bottom lane, you mentioned the Master of Arms versus Pharaoh matchup. Of course, Flensmeister on Master. Seems like he should be pretty good. So yeah, all three of these lanes really are setting up nicely. And then there's a jungle factor on top of that. The fact that you have a Tempest who just naturally farms a little bit better than a Keeper of the Forest. Meanwhile, at the top lane, Engineer, a little bit of pressure being applied. That's what I was talking about. So you need to be very careful that the silence eventually comes out on a Pyromancer, but here to use his abilities. So it's no doubt early on looking like a very tough laning stage here for Team Excellent. But so does it come down to then this Keeper of the Forest? Is there more pressure now on Pew to come through at that level 6 mark, you think?
Yeah, he really needs to get that level 6 as soon as possible and set up a gank. Preferably top. Yeah, I agree. This lane top. It's so hard as an engineer to effectively land your spells without some kind of help, and obviously Bloodhunter does not help you very much. And we saw there, both the Alliance team members got off both their spells before Bloodhunter could even react to silence, so he really just can't really help much. His laning phase is very limited for sure.
Speaking of that silence, by the way, I always find it interesting to bring that up about this here. The silence is ridiculous, man. It gets up to what is it? 9 seconds at level 4. That's you're locking down a specific hero for 9 seconds, basically, in a team fight. That at least, you know, a hero that would be more spell based. Now, and the other cool part of it, of course, is it amplifies the damage. So that's where it gets to the question of, you know, do you use it on yourself in times? Do you use it on the opponent in certain cases? So it's definitely interesting to watch out for that in the midst of those fights here. Being the blood crazy, of course, for Bloodhunter. So interested to see Nox and what he goes for. Speaking of staying with the Bloodhunter topic, though, Riser, you got to wonder what he's going to look to build here. I mean, especially with this laning situation, might not have the best of times. Do you think that? Oh, middle lane! Wow, Jonas Van caught the tail end of that. Amateur and chases down Fade and actually does enough to get the kill. Oh, that's really gonna throw Team Excellent a little behind here early on in this game.
Yeah, for sure. This is. I feel like every single lane is just they're not really set up well to dominate at least even one lane. And with how the game is these days, it's very difficult to recover from a poor laning phase. So, excellent job by Jonas and Finn. Yeah, using that double damage, and gonna apply some more pressure to Fate here even. But yeah, he should be fine. And yeah, I think like you said, the pressure is on Keeper of the Forest. What can he do to help his team come out of this laning phase?
So I was going back to the Bloodhunter, though. Usually, it seems like that pub-style build, at least, is that Mock of Brilliance, you know, going the early Mock. I don't know, you said you watched Nox before. Do you know what he likes to build as that Mock?
Yeah, I've seen him play. I think he likes to really favor the early Shrunken Head. Might have, you know, maybe a build-up by him before that, like a Firebrand. And then eventually I think he finishes the Dawnbringer. So I think that's kind of his core item build. Maybe get, you know, one item to help him farm a little before he gets that Shrunken Head, then immediately into the Shrunken Head, so he can actually get into the fight.
Oh, Tempest in a little bit of trouble in the meantime. Tempest is going to end up falling, it looks like, but at what cost right here? Farrell's taking a lot of return damage, but not going to be enough to take him out. And now Brodek's 5 level actually put in the auto attacks Master of Arms. Burning Shadow comes out. Farrell coming back in with the health push and activate. It doesn't have any mana to do anything, but it still might be enough for the kill. Yes, it will. Well played right there between Fade and Farrell. Hell, you know, Fade's obviously having a tough time in that middle matchup. Picks up a rune, though, and before you know it, both Tempest and a Master of Arms are dead. So a huge sequence of events there for Team Excellent, Riser.
Yeah, certainly. Excellent rotation by Brodex, grabbing that rune and just catching Tempest a little out. And then, unfortunately, Master of Arms overstaying his welcome just a little too long. But looks like Bloodhunter's going to take some pressure in the top lane. The silence will come out on Pebbles. Steel Kid wants to try and finish him off, but unfortunately his spells were down. So a bit of an exchange there top, no kills. But yeah, I think Flintmeister a little overstays welcome a little.
Yeah.
Down there.
Okay, so yeah, going back to Bloodhunter though, you mentioned the Shrunken Head is what it seems like he likes to build first. So what as far as damage after that, do you think?
Well, I think he just gets, you know, built up with the Searing Light, but in bottom lane.
Oh wow,
unfortunately.
Yep.
Flintmeister taken out once again, so excellent rotation from Brodex so far. But as far as Bloodhunter, you know, maybe grabbing those steam boots, get a little tanky, finish up that Firebrand for a little bit of extra damage. Then, you know, eventually I think the Dawnbringer is what he's going to use.
Okay.
Mostly, so.
Okay. I also find it interesting. He's actually choosing to level up the Blood Sense here. He has a level 2 of it at least, and actually they're going to try to set up somewhat of a gank. The turret just missing though. Ooh, if that turret connected, Keeper of the Forest was coming in at a good angle. Could have possibly cut him off with the root right there, but not able to follow through. But yeah, going the Blood Sense here. instead of, something like the Feast, where obviously, where it's a little bit tougher for him to get last hits. Maybe that does make more sense. There comes the side, so on to Pebbles. Root comes out. Power Master going to stun Cooper the Force, though. Engineer running in. Can he get the Kex? No, he misses the Kex, but it doesn't matter. Pebbles being completely blocked. He says, get off me, though, Stalagmite's Chuck. He's going to be fine for now. Another science. The turret comes out. Is that going to be enough damage? No, the defensive Master's Call is applied, and Pebbles will survive. And in the meantime, they counter kill Pharaoh at the bottom line. That's got to be frustrating right there for Team Excellent.
Yeah, I think it was a great setup by Pew, but unfortunately Engineer was just not close enough to follow up with that root. He rooted Pyromancer and Pebbles. Pebbles was silenced, so he could not defend himself for quite some time, but just, yeah, Nope's Keg Stun coming out really hurt them on that, and then, yeah, Pharaoh going down to the level 6 Tempest. Well, he's level 7 now, but I assume when he killed him, he did use that Elemental Void, so... Yeah. Yeah, unfortunate for Team Excellent for sure. I mean, Bloodhunter's still doing quite well in this laning phase, though. If you take a look at the creep score, he's ahead of Pebbles, and definitely, I don't think they lost this lane by any means.
What do you make of that, by the way, as I was referring to with the Blood Sense, him choosing to level 3 Blood Sense here?
I think when you go for that Feast build, I think it's actually pretty smart. When you go for that Feast build, oh, there's going to be initiators in the middle lane, though. Yeah,
we do see Pharaoh jumping in right here. Madman's being locked in, of course. The tower in range as well, doing some damage. Deep the Master Call comes out. Hellfire. Oh, he gets a turn kill on a fade. He will fall shortly after, but at least Jonathan fan bringing down Brodix 5 level with him, so it ends up being a 1-for-1. But you see, I mean, both Pharaoh and Fade are being pretty active early on in this game as far as moving around, which is good to see. But obviously, both sides are actually doing that to an extent. So, but. Good kill.
Yeah, he's setting up some nice. They're definitely setting up some nice kills, and I think this Blood Hunter build is mostly a tribute to a lot of times you see people max the Feast, but I think that's more of like a solo build, like a solo mid build. You just once you keep killing creeps and healing up, no one can really touch you. But in here, it's more for having a little more utility around going around the map and helping in team fights with that extra speed. And, as you can see, he doesn't really need to be healing that much from the Feast. So, but as I say, that could be in trouble top.
Bottom lane in the meantime, he's going to get a kill on a Master of Arms says Fame. Meanwhile, to the top lane, though, Root comes out. We do see Blood Hunter trying to survive right here. Nature's Fail gets our going to speed away with that run speed, but it's not going to be enough. Pyromancer, Dragonfire Sun. Oh, and he missed the Phoenix Wave as well. Pyromancer and Pebbles not on the same track right there. Madman misses his barrel roll on a Keeper. It does take out Engineer, but it looks like Pew on Keeper the Force. He's going to be fine for now. Madman's stalking. Oh, man, that was close. Couldn't get the Courier at least. I don't think he's going to be able to get that either. So pretty chaotic things going on right there. As again, the bottom lane, Fade did a pretty good job of also getting a kill on a Master of Arms before as he was down there. So this game, man, 10 hero kills already. We're not even 10 minutes into the game. Both teams insisting on being pretty active early on here.
Yeah, there could be maybe... No, okay. Fade will escape. But yeah, that's why I said earlier that Lions is quickly becoming my favorite team to watch. And Team Excellent, definitely no slouches in terms of aggression. So I get disappointed nowadays if there's not at least a kill a minute. And so far there is at least. We're coming up on 10 minutes, so it's close. But there has been definitely quite a bit of action this game. Lions is a team, like I said, they're so fun to watch because they're so aggressive, never scared to take a fight, no matter what it seems like. So always a treat to watch.
Speaking of the jungling, again, you have plenty of insight on that. Looking at this Tempest here, it definitely wants me to bring up the evolution of Tempest over time. How it used to be, you go straight portal key on Tempest, you get that big Tempest ultimate. That's why we picked you up. Now it's, if you get the portal key eventually, sure, but you build an Astrolabe first, maybe even the Shrunken Head first. I mean, how has that been like for you? Not rushing the portal key anymore as a Tempest player.
It's good. I definitely like the build you're talking about. It's certainly more interesting. It allows you to be tankier as well, and you don't have to play like a walking ultimate, just sitting in the back. You can, be up in the fight a little more, be more aggressive. Of course, you can't just Rambo in, but there could be a fight in the top lane.
Yeah, Hemorrhage is applied to Pebbles. We do see Give It the Force coming in. The Root's going to come out. Stalagmites where he's just before, but Pyromancer locked down. Pharaoh jumps in. Pyromancer trying to sacrifice, if anything. Pebbles still alive somehow. Defensive Master's Call going to help keep him alive, and Super KG will survive in the end. Blood Hunter still wants blood, though. He's going to now turn on Tempest right here. Tempest does have an Elemental Void. They need to be careful that they don't get turned on themselves, and they will fall back before too much of an opportunity happens, or will they? We got Madman coming out for the side. He's trapped in the Mudballs right there. Parallel connecting on 2. He's going to avoid the stun right there. Pebble's coming back up with Tempest again. The Elemental Void is still ready to go. Hellfire is up, though, for Pharaoh. It's a dangerous time to use it. We do see Pharaoh now being turned on. The goo is down. Pharaoh will fall. Madman's stalking around still. Keeper of the Force and Fade are both going to fall. And the Legion team, Lion Esports Club, looking really good all of a sudden in this fight. A double tap for Jonathan Fan. Big turnaround coming out for Lion Esports Club.
Yeah, it's certainly well played by Lions, but this is a stage of the game where I feel like their lineup is just 10,000 times stronger than Hellborn's. I just don't know where the damage comes from on Hellborn's lineup at this stage of the game, and this is what I was expecting Lions to do. Around this time in the game, they can group up and push, and whenever you draft Pharaoh and Keeper, we've made this mistake before when I was playing with Complexity, it's just there's not a whole lot of damage. There's not a whole lot of consistent damage. You need someone who can just pump out the DPS, and honestly, I mean, the hero that could possibly be in that role for this game is Blood Hunter, and we all know he's not quite there yet. He needs some items if he wants to pump out that physical DPS.
Yeah, he's definitely item dependent in that sense. You cannot expect him to do that mass amount of damage. If anything, he's more of just I'm going to be a ganker hero than that carry presence in the early game stage with the hemorrhage, of course. So Madman is, speaking of a carry hero, he's doing just fine here, especially after that fight. Jonas Fan, look at that. He's 6-1-2. This is what I'm talking about. This is why I love this hero, honestly. 6-1-2 hero kills, and he's also now 453 gold per minute as far as having some very good creep farm. Now he does have the Caster's Curse on him right here. He's going to be jumped. In comes Sparrow. The Team's Master Call comes out. Is it going to be enough to save him? It looks like it is. That on top of the stock. They just had no way to see him. Meanwhile, at the top lane, Pebbles is chasing. He's silenced currently, and that is going to last long enough, it looks like. But Lion Esports Club making a strong statement here that they're really starting to explode, and that goes to what you were just saying, Riser, where this is a time in the game where it's definitely can start happening. And we see Pyromancer in the meantime. Blazing Shark over to use an Engineer. Gonna burst it down. Pyromancer falls in the background as well, so 1-1 exchange to start things off right here. Tempest running and look for the elemental one. Oh, the Hellfire's up. He tried to use the ultimate. It's canceled immediately. Not the best timing right there. And Pharaoh now going to be gone, and it might not matter in the end. Pharaoh will fall despite the Naturesville attempt. And now it's a 2-for-1. The chase is still on for Lion Esports Club. Madman wants more blood. Fade is trying to get away right here. He's going to be stunned down. Fade's in a lot of trouble. And Fade will fall. So make it a 3-for-1 to end. And they may just go for the secondary tower at this point. Lion Esports Club, they ain't showing any signs of stopping anytime soon here, Riser.
They really aren't, and they know exactly what I'm saying is that the other team just doesn't have the team fight capability right now. It would take a pretty big screw up on Lion's part to maybe just from like a big Fade stun coming out of Invis or a big Pharaoh ult to really give the Hellborn team any chance of taking a team fight properly, and it's just not happening right now. So Lions, I guess they're going to back off here with a lot of their spells being down, but yeah, so far it seems like they're in full control of this game.
So does anything come to your mind as far as Team Excellent and what they could have done here in the early game stage to maybe prevent it to getting to this point, or is it just simply the draft? I mean, is it just as simple as that?
Well, I think they could have avoided taking fights. I mean, they set up some pretty good ganks. Maybe Keeper of the Fort. Oh, initiation in the middle lane actually onto Pyromancer, and with the max level Hellfire, I do not see Pyro escaping now. So free kill coming up from Pharaoh, making use of that ward placed in the middle lane. But one thing perhaps what could have been their best chance, actually, as I'm trying to say something.
Say it, Riser!
Killing people.
Say it!
Is he going to get away? The Fade stun?
I think
just
he is, yeah.
Barely, but he does have Blink available. Let's see. The silence comes out. And Pebbles himself could be in a lot of trouble here. He really wants to get this counter kill, but he's kind of caught out by himself here. And with no support nearby, he will also go down. Yeah. But back to what I was trying to say while people were being slaughtered. Maybe Keeper of the Forest could have done some pushing by himself, avoiding the Alliance team, not taking team fights. Try to get some pickoffs somewhere. Maybe they could pick off Madman with Dust while you see Madman's going in for this tower middle, but the glyph will be used. So maybe just some dodging, some Complexity dodging.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely get the invis, the Dust out. Madman, he does finish off the tower. Pharaoh trying to get a counter kill. I think it's going to happen, though. The support just not nearby. Speaking of Pharaoh, Bastos has honestly done a pretty good job this game, being very active. You see his score. He's 4-3-5, so doing what he can to make some kills happen here and there. But again, so as you referred to, getting that dust, getting the revs here, making sure that you have ways to get Madman killed if you catch him out. As we've seen several times now, he's been able to escape simply because of the lack of sight. the lack of vision coming out here from Team X. In fact, you see right there, Madman just ninjas the rune right in front of Fade. And Brodux 5 level, all he can do is just stride away with those striders of his. Pharaoh, in the meantime, has the top rune. It is an Invis rune. He's right on top of a Rev as he uses it, but doesn't actually matter in the long run. So, obviously, big items are coming together right now. Speaking of that, Blood Hunter again being gone on this time. Madman and Tempest combo for the kill. Tempest even had hemorrhage on him right there, but all he did was stand there and just like, okay, well, you're dead anyways. Doesn't really matter. So, you kind of feel like Team Excellent at this point. They're really just hoping for a miracle, but the game is finishing quicker than later, I would think, at this rate here. So
Yeah, they're definitely way behind at this point. If you take a look at the golden XP, then it's quite obvious. And Lion's all converging to this bottom lane. Keeper of the Forest is right next to a Rev Ward, but he will escape. But yeah, I think Nox is a little out of position farming that far up. Just trying to find farm where he can, but he does make for a pretty easy kill at this stage of the game.
now, this actually brings up a good talking point here as, again, Lions just continues to lead. Is the puzzle box picked up by Pharaoh? We did see this recently as well. I'm blanking on who we saw it on exactly, but it might have been Jonas Fan actually, for Lions even. But anyways, puzzle box on Pharaoh, and how did we never really see? What are your thoughts on puzzle box?
Well, I like to go puzzle box on Pharaoh if I'm having a really good game, and he had a great start. He's up at 350 gold per minute, I believe, at one point. 2-1 and 3, and maybe he's trying to find that damage for his team, but he will get initiated on here by Pebbles, and he could be in a lot of trouble here.
Caster's curse, man, it's real. If you're going to become a caster riser, you got to realize that right off the bat. It's you start going in depth about one hero, and all of a sudden they die 5 seconds later. So, I'm sorry, Bassets, that was my bad.
Yeah.
But we do see right here, Lion Esports Club going to keep it going. Actually, Pebbles tries to catch him off guard. So let's get in there, Blood Hunter. Not where he wants to be. He'll fall right off the path. The root comes out. They may get a counter kill or may not actually. Deep as the Master Call going to be. There's the elemental point. It's going to be canceled by good keg stun, but in the end, it just doesn't matter. Fade is already dead. A double tap for Jonas Fan there on Madman. Engineer just going to very defensively use an energy field in the meantime. And he will survive. For how much longer is the question, though. Look at Master of Farms. He's chasing him. He wants to somehow pick up a kill, but not going to get it. And they're all going to fall back from there. So the slaughter does continue, though, in favor of Lion Esports Club. You see Madman with that shrunken head of his, and there's a vote to concede, actually. It looks like Excellent is going to throw in the towel here, just realizing, okay, it's not going to happen. And, well, Nox decides to the lead before the concede vote falls through. Okay, so there's the concede coming out. And it looks like game number 1 will officially go to Lion Esports Club. So, again, a lot of it definitely has to do with the draft, as you're referring to the Rise there, but also as you're talking about, some things could have maybe been done a little bit better by Team Excellent's side, specifically, taking advantage of Giga Attempts on a hero like Madman. Get that, make sure you have Dust, make sure you have Revs to guarantee those kills, but it just wasn't able to happen. So, any final thoughts about that game, though, Riser?
Yeah, I think if anyone's going to carry Dust, it would have been Pharaoh and Fade, but yeah, not much else besides I think Lions did an excellent job capitalizing on the other team's draft, knowing they can just push and take team fights, and there's really nothing Team Excellent can really do to contest them with their hero. So yeah, certainly what we've seen from Lions recently, just excellent team fights, well played by everyone on their team. I feel like is just playing out of their minds recently.
Yeah, outside of yourselves, of course, outside of Team USA here, do you think Lion Esports Club is maybe the team to beat going into Han Tour, or are you unsure yourself as far as who's going to be that top team into Han Tour Season 2?
They do seem like the team to beat. I've been watching SG Scrim recently, and I feel like they're approaching back to their normal form as well. So, with recent results, you could probably argue, yes, Lion is absolutely dominating everyone, but I expect to see SG up there as well with them if they continue to practice and scrim.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, man. If anything, though, that's a good thing about it. There really is no certainty as far as who that top dog is going into the event, and I don't think that's going to happen even for a while at this rate. So I personally like that, but we'll see. We'll see as that develops on, of course, so we still got to wait.